Good evening, we're going to get started. For those who don't know me, my name is Tom Palmer. I'm the superintendent of the schools here at Peru. I apologize for us being in the bus garage, but we were expecting thunderstorms today. And so we want to make sure that we're able to have an event and not worry about weather. And as you see, we're not very active. We're here tonight to discuss and have an opportunity to hear. I have 3 agenda items for us tonight. One is to have just a brief occurrence of what happened at the board meeting on July 14th, the overview of the next steps, and then the community has an opportunity to respond. I just ask you, if you come up and you want to make comments, would you state your name just so that we have a record of it, so that the Board of Education know whose it's from, and also an opportunity for follow-up. So first to start with, on July 14th of this year, we had a new business item that was on the agenda to talk about the mascot. With all the upheaval and the things that are going on in our country right now, the board wanted to have a discussion about the mascot. What happened, for those that got a chance to see the board meeting, the action item, it turned into an action item versus just a conversation. Some board members were very strong in their beliefs that the time was now to change the mascot with everything that's going on with the Native American. And we had further conversation at that time. I suggested to the board just to slow down, to have a meeting like we are tonight before making the recommendation, but they were pretty sure that they wanted to make that call and then have the new mascot be developed through a stakeholder group. So that's where we are with that. I'll apologize to the community because usually we'd rather have an open conversation before making a decision like that, but that was something that, like I said, from a political standpoint, and just to give you a little reference on this started back in 1998 when Commissioner Mills, that was the Commissioner of Education back then, he made a statement, and then in 2001 he had a position paper that stated that he asked all the boards of education across the state to take Native Americans off of their mascots. That came out in 2001. Some districts went with that, some districts refused. In 2010, from St. Regis, the chief from St. Regis wrote a letter to the school board, to A. Paul Scott and the school board, asking them at that time also to remove the Indian as the mascot of the district. At that time, the Board of Education chose not to. So now we speed it up to 2020. The political outcries that are going out there, and the board made that decision. My job is to take us to the next step. So the other piece is why we have the document that went around for people to sign. If you're interested, also let me know if you want to be part of the stakeholder group in determining the next mascot. We had 9 students here last night, a couple on, so I don't know how well we're going to have student attendance, but this is a community stakeholder group. They'll have an opportunity to tease out some names and figure out what the next direction we are as a school district. Some of the things that the kids talked about was, and this is more so from social media, and one of them was very damning, and I don't mean to curse even, but was very upset with Mr. Berry, saying that he lied to them because of the fact that all the values that we instilled in kids with the Indian are now gone. When I shared with the kids, a mascot is a mascot. The values that you put into it are still your core values. Doesn't matter whether it's a feather, a spear, a broom, it's still who you are and what you do on that field of play. One of the last things to share with you, I know the board used the word cease immediately, and I softened that and changed it to the word retired, because we're not going to just exonerate and forget the great things that happened at Peru while under the tutelage of the Indians. So, for example, on the top of the scoreboard, there's the Class B state championship. That's not going anywhere. Some of the accolades that are in the trophy cases aren't going anywhere. It's still part of Peru's tradition or part of their history. History is important, but also it's a new day. So we also have to have that opportunity to give these kids a new day under the new premise. Just like when we were in school, there was no such thing as computers. And look at the technology and the things that are going now. So the overview is, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be putting something out. I think it's going to be August 4th, August 11th, and August 25th. I'm going to have stakeholder meetings, and we'll start talking about it. I told the kids the other day, start thinking of a mascot. Start thinking of different ones, 5 or 6, and we'll start to lean through that. Because there is no preconceived notion at this time that we already have one in place. There is none at this time. The kids will have an opportunity, and also the parents and the career people that have been here your whole lives have a chance to actually interject also into that. So now, if you would like to speak, I'm here to listen also. That's why I am here, really. Anybody, before we open the mic up, does anybody have any questions on what I shared? Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to thank you for the clarification. I think actually you've done it a little earlier, when they're all on the motion, they're posting on social media and asking us that this community doesn't usually do each other, among each other. And I think part of it was, we can't change the past, and we don't really want to change the past, but I think this school district has had a really positive past and done some great, accomplishments. And I appreciate the fact that that's not going to be buried somewhere because it's...
No, I actually almost like to almost do a museum, but like an opportunity for people to respect that. That's something at that time. That was a chapter, or that was an era that was, appropriate at that time, what it was politically, but as far as what people accomplished and did here. And again, I have to apologize because it wasn't done really the best way, like you said, giving people a chance to have that conversation. Yes, sir.
I don't think the school board acted like us we have without communication and input from the public. These changes were made with no input, no transparency or anything to the public. It was done behind closed doors, and it was here it is, like it is. That's not the way this community was founded, and that's not what we're all about. The Native American people are a very proud people. A long time ago, about 20 years ago, there was a coach here, a very well-known coach, that taught the Mohawk tribe leader. A tribal leader of the Mohawk tribe, and he questioned at that time about how he felt about us using the Indian logo. That tribe leader had no problem with that whatsoever. You know, the only thing that he could find wrong with the logo being used by the Indians was the fact that the headdress did not represent what was in it. It was not accurate. We need more transparency. We need to have input from the citizens of this community and not just have things railroaded and shoved down their throats. That's not how things work. We are too easily led and fall to what's happening in the rest of the world. And everybody wants to tear down statues and destroy our history and forget about everything. Well, no, you're not going to build a new America overnight. It's not going to happen. And while we want to make advances and move forward and be progressive, we can't forget where we came from. Both my daughters went here and graduated from school. I was an active parent as far as supporting the sports team. This is just, it gives a lot of people fall. You don't have any hope anymore. This community is going the way the rest of the country. Where the hell can us? That's all.
Yes.
I graduated from the school back in 1980. My name is Judy Gonzalez Frank. And I did this one. There are the board numbers, right? And like she said, it's
Well, let me share with you about the board members. It's not touch on. Let me explain why, okay? We expected with the amount.
just let me finish, and you can explain
school put Indian out here, that's something offensive to somebody. It makes no sense at all. And to start a new chapter, there's too many new chapters trying to start around here. Like he said, we're just ripping everything down because everyone's so offended by everything. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yes, sir.
I think there's plenty of rhetoric that can be flopped around here today, but I think the fact that you had to start the meeting with an apology for whatever it may be, probably point us in a little more constructive direction of what actually just happened here. Two short questions. I'd just like to hear you say it. Was it you or was it the board that pulled the trigger on this?
Board of Education.
Thank you. And then you mentioned some of the board members felt very strongly. Could you give me a number? Say 2, 1, 5?
Well, it has to be,
Just to see where we're going here.
it has to be a majority, which is out of 7 board members, it has to be 4 board members to be able to make something go forward.
Did you say those 4 board members felt very strongly? And perhaps, did they displace the other 3? How did that work out? You were the observer, you were there, none of us were.
Well, let me share with you 2 things, okay? We back up where they already came to. First thing back there, sir, gentlemen, I just want to make a statement why the Board of Education wasn't here. They were going to be. But because of, based on the information we were receiving on Facebook and hearing, and that's the reason the police officers were here, they weren't here for an unruly crowd, just so everyone knows that. I'm here to take the punches, whatever you guys, that's fine.
And that's why I understand the apology, and that's what we're here
The
for.
reason why they're here, or was here, because I am adamant about one thing and one thing only, first and foremost for you. It's the safety and order for this district. I don't want to put anybody in harm's way. So if there was more than 50 people, I would have to ask those people that came in late to leave. That comes right from the health department, just so everybody knows that. That's the only reason the police is here tonight. I have a great relationship with the state police, a good working relationship. They're in our buildings all the time, they're here for the safety of our students. So it's not about policing you, okay? Number 2 was, that's why the board wasn't here, because I asked them not to be. Because I didn't want more than 50 people. If they took 7 seats, maybe that's my fault. So I will take full responsibility for that. But that's the reason why. That is the one and only, I'm sorry I put my back.
No, you're good.
So that's my one and only reason, okay? Why I apologize was not for the actions of the board. And if you go back and you look at the board, because we have those documented, because they're open, okay? They're open meetings. They have the opportunity, you would hear me state, that I wanted to give the community an opportunity to speak.
After they stand before?
I'm sorry, sir?
After they stand before?
After the After the yes. No. While we were having that discussion that night, I was getting, see, everybody has to understand one thing. I'm the CEO of your school district, but I work for the Board of Education. They don't work for me, so they make the ultimate decision. I make recommendations to them, or I suggest things to them. The thing I suggested was simply this: before making this final decision, to have a community or multiple community events to allow the community to speak.
So in essence, what you're saying is that you made a recommendation and the board totally ignored the community.
I made the recommendation that you would have an opportunity to speak. Not, look, the board has the ultimate decision. They're elected officials that you chose elected to actually be management of the school district, okay?
Wouldn't it be nice to have the community an option of speaking before the vote was taken and before it knocked out? I mean, the trigger's already been pulled. This is a formality, and if you think that it's necessary to bring the state police here, you know how controversial it is in the community.
No, you didn't listen to me, sir. I said, let me finish. I asked the state police to be here and exceed 50 people, not about whether it's unruly. I'm not worried about that.
Obviously.
What do you mean, obviously?
Obviously, you're not worried about what kind of a controversy this is to the community. I mean,
I do, that's why I'm here, because if I didn't, I'd have a deaf ear.
Yeah, but you put the
You can have your opinion, I'm not here to argue with you tonight. My job is to move us forward from the decision of the Board of Education. That's my job. That's what I'm directed to do. So whether you agree or disagree with it, I'm also giving you a chance, just like it was in a funeral service of death, dying, and bereavement, people an opportunity to speak. I did not know the event was going to occur on July 14th. I can't change that decision. But if I didn't care, I wouldn't be here tonight offer an opportunity to speak with the community. And I always say my door is always open all the time. Yes, sir.
If there is a large enough consensus and outpouring from the community, can this board decision be rescinded or changed?
The board has that control, yes, sir.
I think there's a strong enough feeling among community residents that this
Taxpayers.
matter is not handled properly. And I think that if someone were to take the time and talk to the people of the community, you may find you get a very different view of what's going on, and if the board would not act on it as a matter. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
I agree with that. I was doing the last time too, but also, where were the complaints and where did this all come from initially? Was there complaints, like formal complaints put in about the,
Well, let me back you up to help you, okay? When I first got here, going on 3 years ago, some staff members complained about the Indian, that it was not the indigenous person, that we are being of a racist nature because of their viewpoints. So my job is, just like tonight, to report back to the Board of Education to share that's my job, is to share it. So at that time, the Board of Education had a meeting, and at that meeting, they had a general conversation at the time with the board that was there, didn't feel to bring that forward. But with the political pieces moving forward in the unrest and the things that are going on in today's society, the sentiment has changed.
so basically, because of the people we pay as a community, as taxpayers, they went ahead and made this decision that the way they felt in their opinion, like you just said, you're just here to not express your opinion, or we're here to express our opinion, you're here to express your opinion. Whose opinion matters in this? 3 teachers or the entire community?
Well, they brought it to the attention because it was even a hotbed topic a couple of years ago. If you look like
So how many years has it been called Peruvians?
Oh, God.
1951. 51.
Since 51?
It was called 51.
Just recently, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, let me also share one thing with you. I wish I brought the actual statement from the St. Regis, from the chief from St. Regis in 2010, made a plea to the school district to ask them to take the Native American off of Peru.
One of them?
It was, well, those 3 chiefs that had signed that document.
So why is it 10 years later?
30%, sounds like a small number. 2010, you said?
I'm sorry?
You heard me.
No, I didn't hear you.
2010,
Yes, sir.
you said.
That's when 9/11 happened.
It just seems really convenient at this time and everything's going on. It's really easy to implement this with all the other social issues that are going on. Boom, look at it, it's easy. I can take care of this business right now because everybody else is doing it everywhere in the country. So,
That's because they think they're cheap.
exactly. I don't think in terms of a bunch of sheep.
Well, and I don't have his name, I can email it to you or put it on the web. There's also a Democrat, a senator from downstate, that also is trying to put right now, push through legislation that if people are retained,
Again, downstate.
but it's statewide though. He is a state senator. I'm just giving you facts.
I didn't vote for him.
No, you're selling something.
No, the problem is though,
You're selling
there's 90 some politicians downstate.
Why is this political?
Huh?
Why is this political?
I'm just sharing with
This
you
is
a
the
fact.
school, this is the community.
Can I share the last part of the fact?
Well,
He's attaching it to state aid. That does mean school.
Yep.
That's what it means.
again, it becomes political.
That's a typical Democratic ploy.
I'm
I'm not here to
this, I don't need money.
I'm, Well, we need the money. We don't have a choice in the
Well, you
matter.
know what, I don't wanna pay.
The taxpayers have a choice in the matter.
To whatever, for the polar bears or whatever. That's money.
So when you're bringing up money, can I ask how much it's going to cost to change all of the
It'd be over a period of time, ma'am. It would not be like a snap of the finger because it would be a financial impact.
Because, I mean, financially, that's a big question, I think. And the timing, I think we got a lot more problems right now with the homeschooling and, well, the remote learning. I think right now is not a good time to do this. I think it's a lot of things that the board shouldn't really be dwelling on when they should be dealing with what we're going to do in the fall.
Yeah, should
When
the
these
kids be
kids
going
gotta
back
come
to
back.
school or should they be doing other things?
I don't think focus should be on this right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I think they kind of missed an opportunity. When you mailed out our ballots to vote for the budget and vote on the buses or whatever, they had an opportunity at that time to say, we're going to discuss the mascot at some point in the future. We'll put out the date, you can attend the meeting or whatever. You can give your input to your local school board member that you know, or whether you know or not. Here's the list, it's always on the website. And I think by sending all that out, we could have gotten rid of all this divisiveness, this nastiness, all this crap that's followed with it, by just giving somebody a little bit of heads up that this was a plan. And like you said at the meeting, I don't think that they should have taken it upon themselves to act on it immediately. If it's brought up as an idea to discuss, all well and good. But to make a decision and exclude all of the taxpayers, all the alumni, because the alumni are really very proud of their past. They're proud of what they accomplished. They were proud of the Indians. I'm still proud of it, and I graduated over 50 years ago. So, I was an Indian then, so I consider that, I like that my family, my children went to the school and were Indians and my grandchildren. And after this year, I'm not going to have a dog in this fight, but I'm still a community member and have been here my whole life, and I really find it offensive that these changes were made as if we didn't have, and as if we were not important enough to consult.
You say these changes aren't going to happen over there, they're not going to happen like that. They've already stripped the Indians, they've already painted over the logo. What's with that? If they haven't waited for any fallout or any repercussions or any feedback from the community, they just barreled ahead and struck it. I don't understand why be so expeditious in changing things and changing our mascot and just steamrolling the whole thing. It makes no sense.
Yeah, followed her. They got rid of the NFL Redskins, and a week later, they were no longer Indians. My mother was an Indian. She graduated here in 1963. I started school here in 1985. I graduated in 1993. I played sports here. I've coached since 2012 for the Peru Indians. And my son was a 4-time New York State champion for the Peru Indians. He has an Indian tattooed on his body. That's how deep his pride is. And you guys just wash away like it doesn't mean anything to us. And we weren't involved in the decision. And I feel like just because I'm here and I'm part of this community that I should have a say, and I don't. And I feel like it would probably affect my future employment at Peru School. If so be it, whatever. I don't feel that's the way things should go. I have so much pride. This school is, it was inbred in me that this is the toughest people around. We are, we're family. And we're tight knit. Well, we're not tight knit now because you guys just make decisions without us. It's very upsetting. And if my son was here, but he served in the country, in the Air Force, and he's in Guam, and he can't be here, so it's upsetting me. He couldn't come and share his voice, both my children were Indians. I was an Indian, my mom was an Indian, my grandparents. It's just, and it goes on and on, And I agree with him, it was just swept under the rug, and like she said, it should have been allowed to, there was no voice. We had no voice. And it's all a political agenda, that's all it is, has nothing to do, you guys saw what happened in the world, and you said, oh, we should do it. Oh, okay, have a nice day. And just,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Now, I have to tell you, my son is going into the fifth grade this year, and he's been playing football. My brother graduated here, I graduated here, my mom, my aunts, my grandfather drove us here. My daughter graduated here. My son is so proud to go to school in India. His dad can sit around. My son said to me the other night, he doesn't want to go to school anymore because of this. That's disheartening. He is very upset about this. And you said that this was mentioned back in 1980, that's the year I graduated. I don't remember any discussion of that. And then in 2001, it came up again, and then in 2010, I'm just confused. I mean, call me stupid, but I'm just confused. And John here said, he said it too, it's just now being thrown at us when there's more important things, like, this lady over here said, going on, like, are the kids going back to school? Come September, what's going on with that? But here we are trying to hurry up and change the mascot for school. That seems to be the most important thing. It's just mind blowing. It's upsetting. It's upsetting.
You could have brought the board member to take some notes with us. They make a decision, they should do it.
They would. I think a few of them would have been here,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, at least the school board president, I mean.
She was looking this morning, she would have been here.
I
Yes,
give
sir.
you credit for being here and taking the meeting, but again,
Guys, I was in Indian downstate and not way downstate, in Albany. I get it. I get tradition, I get history.
it just seems that, it's an unfair process, right? Usually in the US, you have, the opportunity is about the majority, not about the 1%, You make a decision, you can't just appease everybody, but you can appease the majority, right? You're not gonna, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? It's the person with the biggest complaints and complaining all the time that gets the oil, right? But it should be about the majority. We shouldn't pay to everything that everybody else is doing right now in society. Just basically your democratic cities, look at how they're running right now, with what's happening on the news and stuff. I mean, that's not this community. This community is not like that. Like some people have been saying, it's a tight community. We're a proud school. I mean, it should be about the majority, not the 1% of people that are offended by a word or by a race or by somebody using a word. I'm sorry. Then those people need to buck up and get a little tougher because, life's not that easy all the time, right? People are going to call you a name or something. They're going to lay down and cry or suck your thumb or call for your mom. What's that going to do? You're the 1%. The 1% is not the voice.
How many school board members live in this community?
They have to live in the greater school
How many
community.
are from here, though? Actually from this area
Who attended the school.
that attended the school?
Yes,
That has gone up with the Indians.
Two.
Wow.
Wow, that's it, two.
Well, I don't mean argumentative. Let me say one thing though. The other 5 people voted them in. The community voted them in, so, you know what I mean? That's the only, I get it. I get, that's a
They
deep,
don't know
that's a
this
deep rooted
community.
question.
They
It's
don't
a really,
know
it's a
how
good
we
question,
close everything out.
you know? Yes, sir.
So you say we voted them in, however, in the Peru Gazette, there were questions asked of each of the candidates being voted in. One of those questions was, what was their priorities for the school? None of them mentioned changing the name of a mascot or anything like that as the priorities. But their very first meeting coming back from that poll was to add that to the agenda.
It was July, July. Yes, sir.
know you're in a tough spot, but I'd just like to point one thing out. I don't know how many people are here, but it seems to be 100% are against what the board did. And I would hope that you would take that back to the board where they watch this
They'll
and
see.
realize how wrong they were. I mean, if there's people in favor of it, they had the opportunity to show up here tonight also, and where are they? So, you know, I think the board's got to look at it and realize they made a big mistake and fix the gym floor.
We need to fix the gym floor, sir.
I've heard they've already resurfaced.
That's all we did, there was nothing on that floor anyway, it was just a peak. Just so everybody knows, resurfacing had nothing to do with it, it's not the right word, they polyurethane, they lacquered it, there was nothing taken off the floor.
Okay, well, forget that part.
There's a moment, I just want to make sure. I didn't want people to miss that part, though. I get the frustration in here, but I don't want to add to it by somebody going, oh man, they sanded down the center circle and it's gone. There was nothing on it. Okay?
But still, the point is, it seems to be 100%. This gentleman's right talking about the 1%, the 1% is in the year.
Well, my job is also to bring back your concerns to the Board of Education, which I will do tonight. I'll write a letter to them tonight and express your concerns. I also suggest that you have an opportunity on August 18th is a board meeting. That's the next board meeting. I actually want to take that back. I don't want you to think I'm lying. Actually, I have a meeting tomorrow night with them, but tomorrow night is just a workshop and we're discussing one topic, and that is the reopening plan. A lot of the people behind your guys' backs are my administrators, so I greatly appreciate their support tonight. They've been very instrumental in Matt too, sitting here, he's only not saying that. We've been working really hard at that plan and trying to roll something out Friday to give the public something to chew on a little bit, because we're still waiting. We just got a 145-page document from New York State on a reopening plan. And our opening plan could be about 400 pages when it's all said and done, and we're answering all of their questions.
You give us enough to chew on, though. We chewed on you all night, so.
How many people are going to be allowed to go to that meeting? With these COVID restrictions?
What I'll have to do, sir, if people want to, we'll have to change the venue so that we can have the number of 50s the most that we
It
have.
might be a good idea to
How
send out a
about
survey.
at the football field?
I have to run it by the Board of Education president, and I will do that, and I will put a response out.
Yeah, the rain.
That's what we had.
Well, we-
Yeah,
At least get a survey of how many people are interested in attending that meeting.
right.
So
How
that-
many of you tonight would be interested in attending that meeting? Okay. I will talk with Mrs. Berry, and then if anybody had signed up, if you give your email address or whatever, or phone number, I will call you, or email you. We'll find out what the hardest part is outdoors is easier than indoors, because indoors you got the theater, but then you have to space them out forever, 6 by 6. But I will share that with the board.
You know, the football field's right there.
Yeah, I know, but you got weather restrictions and all the other things.
Yeah, but.
You don't want to get too far apart, because the thing is
It's
that
not, it's a
Then you can't hear
you
you.
might get farther away.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhat, you know what I mean?
I'm graduating.
But 50
But
is
still
pretty
50
small.
people though. Because I talked with Gary Canoza of the health department, it's 50 people right now. The only reason we're allowed to have graduation was because Governor Cuomo gave us a free pass for 150
Isn't he special?
in the United States.
No.
Depends on your definition.
No, it's
of
sarcasm.
special, yeah.
Did you notice the sarcasm?
I appreciate you coming out tonight and expressing yourself. And again, like I said, I talked with the Board of Education that night. You can check it for the record because it's taped also. Just talking about having community meetings first to have those conversations. You may still agree to disagree, but if you got a chance to be heard and have that conversation. So I get that. But I'll tell you this, while I do have a select audience, that my door is always open to you.
Can you come into school?
No.
I'll meet you somewhere right now, it doesn't matter. The reason we're here is for the education of our students. Yes, sir.
How
how many tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars has this school spent on leadership training?
Leadership training means what?
Leadership skills, how to be a good leader.
For the Board of Education?
Well, that's probably the best place to
There's
start.
an entire, for school administration, you have an entire program you have to go through. It can run anywhere between 36 and 60 hours.
So any decision-making as a leader, you seek input.
I'm sorry?
Leadership, for decision-making, a decision-making process, for a leader, you seek input first. Then you think. You listen, you think, and then you speak and act. You don't have to go with the majority. A leader doesn't go with the majority. But at least you seek input and listen. And that has been a complete failure of this school.
It's no different than lean manufacturing training, same kind of a concept. Use like Kaizens, different things like that to have group opinions. Before you take action, you come up with a plan. You don't just say, okay, this is what we're doing, and then jump into it.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. I'm looking at 3 cameras pointed at me right now. Are board meetings videotaped, like this is being videotaped right now?
Yes, they are, sir.
So what's the way?
Actually, this is a video, it's live streamed.
Okay.
So for some reason, if someone wasn't able to come tonight, that they're hearing your comments, they're hearing everybody here.
So if I wanted to go back and watch tonight's meeting, could I do that?
Yes, yes, you can.
So
You can also watch the board meeting you're talking about.
is that right on the school site?
It wasn't on Facebook.
It's
Yeah,
coming
right.
right on our website? It's recorded on our website, sir.
I'm just curious because we talked about the board members' decisions and their conversations and stuff, and none of them here to answer for it. But, you know, it'd be nice to kind of have an idea what they talked about before any of us go to that next board meeting.
Yep.
That way, if anybody has any questions about it, what they said during that meeting when there was nobody else present, and change the name of the school, then we have that opportunity to ask them, like we didn't have tonight. I
So
feel like,
That's wide open for you, it's recorded, so you have that opportunity.
well, I feel like you said at the beginning that you didn't want them here because they would take up space. But here's 4 people, they're, you know, one's got a computer and 3 are on cameras. That's 4 people that could have been here for the board, I think.
Well, what I try to do is make sure that we're transparent as we could. That's why we wanted to make sure, because of COVID, that if there was 150 people, that they had an opportunity.
Well, I mean, they could have stood outside like these folks are right here. You know, just be on the premises in case of anybody having any questions. We wouldn't have to come back another night, take time out of our night to discuss this again. It's obviously an issue that
Well,
everyone.
I will take full responsibility and the blame for that. I wanted the public here tonight. That was
I
my
appreciate
goal.
that, but they're still not here to talk to.
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah, he should.
They should have been there too.
That was his requirement, but not
They should have been there too.
I mean, you say you're the head of them, the CEO of them, the CEO.
No, I'm not. I'm the CEO of the district, but the superintendent works for the Board of Education.
So the superintendent ultimately made the decision that the board decided.
Say that one more time?
The superintendent ultimately made the decision that the board decided.
No, I carry out the action of the board decision.
So,
Everybody understand that? The Board of Education makes decisions, and then I have to implement what they
I get that, but you being that oversight, couldn't you have said,
If
let's
you,
wait?
sir, I want you to watch the video because you'll see what I did. You'll see what I said, you'll see what I did. I tried to lead them in a direction. But ultimately, they're my boss. I said it several times to them that we should have had community meetings first before making a decision. I said that several times.
So you can't say to them, let's just
I
kind of.
can recommend it, but I cannot make the decision. It's not my meeting. The way a Board of Education meeting is run is by the 7 members of the Board of Education, and they conduct business in public.
So why couldn't they show their faces here tonight and say, we're going to show our faces? That's our recommendation.
That's on me. I will take that.
But you're saying you can tell them not to.
I know it's,
But then we can't affect any of their decisions.
That's true.
I mean, realistically, think about that. People here want to talk to the people that made that decision. They don't want to hear some BS after it's already done.
no, because really what the construct of this was for people to complain and had the ability to complain or support it. And my job tonight was also to direct the next steps. If you're not happy moving forward and you want to go backwards, then you have to go to the Board of Education. If you want to be part of the solution for the next thing, that's what my job is.
So the question, what would you need, just hypothetically, once we spoke to the board, and spoke to them, what would have to take place in order for this to be taken?
So the process that you're asking is simply this. If you elected, if the Board of Education elected to rescind their recommendation, that's how that works.
Who makes that decision?
The Board of Education,
So those people that
the
voted
seven,
on this initially.
But we all would have to go to the next board for the,
Or the
in order to speak to
petition
that.
help, and if you got these.
Yeah.
petition just shows you the recommendation, but ultimately the Board of Education has been entrusted by the Central School District to make decisions.
Well, I can guarantee you that.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question? Kind of put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
When this meeting happened on the 14th,
I'm sorry.
this meeting happened on the 14th.
Yes, sir.
You told what your feeling was that day, and you tried to lead the board in a certain direction, they didn't listen. Again, sorry. What would your input be after tonight? I guess you had students here last night, and just hearing what the community has said. What would your input be to the board now?
Well,
Even though you say you work for them, if you could, what would your input be?
my input would be we'd go back to the community and have a further discussion with the community before making that final decision. That would be my recommendation. I didn't say change their mind, but I said have an honest discussion.
And I'm okay with that.
In an open session piece, hear what the concerns are. But I also want to make sure though, again, I want to go forward though. One of the parts that tried me about Peru was your pride, a very prideful piece about prideful people up here. You're very we're progressives to a point and want to keep going in a progressive way. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, there is still going to be an issue coming down the road, coming down the chute. That senator from downstate is really pushing hard to eliminate all Indian names, mascots in New York State in the next 3 years. And if he doesn't, he's going to attach money to it. Peru may be prideful, but we're not loaded. We're a 60-40 split between state aid and taxpayer money. We are dependent upon state and federal money, state monies especially right now. We don't have the luxury, because one thing you don't have is a lot of big business here. You have a lot of hardworking people, you've got a few apple orchards, but we don't have a lot of industry per se.
Roads in New York are all.
Well, especially up here, downstate, capital district. I'm just saying it's different.
No, I know.
I'm just giving you real numbers though, that we have about a 48, almost a $49 million budget. We get $18 million from taxpayers, and that other 30 is getting filled in by the government. And as everybody knows, it's still not that cheap. Taxes are taxes, they keep going up. It does not go up at the rate, it does not go up. If you're on a fixed, especially if you're on a fixed income, but if you're not, and you're still working, it doesn't go up equate to the same level.
Who's it, I'm sorry, sir,
Go ahead.
who's the senator that wants to do this?
I could pull out of my office, I think it's like Don Beach.
Sounds important to us.
I'm sorry?
Sounds pretty important to us.
Well, I'm just curious.
His aftermath, though, if he gets it approved, it does matter to us.
Well, yeah, we've heard those lines before. A
It's
lot of
got a
them.
bigger push, just like today with this, it's a political push.
I'm just not convinced, sir. Just not convinced.
Be as you wish, but I'm just telling you facts.
It's not a wish.
Jackson Parkman.
I'm sorry?
Jackson Parkman.
Is that what it is? So if you really want to make sure you push on that also, I would I believe, to Billy Jones and Betty Little. That's the only way to do it. Your voice has to be heard. That's why you're here tonight. I'm listening, so I will go back to the Board of Education and talk to them. I'm also sharing with you, I'll make sure the venue is appropriate, that if you want to come and speak to them, you have that opportunity also.
Dr. Palmer, it's a virtual meeting and the link is on your website right now.
I'm sorry?
The link is on your website for that meeting right now.
Dr. Palmer,
Yes, sir.
I graduated from Peru, 1965. 1964, I had earned my letter in wrestling. And at that time, they gave you a coat. It says Indians on the back. I still have that coat. That's how much it meant to me. It doesn't quite fit as well. But I still have it. And I've been teaching here now for 43 years. And I coached it for 43 years. And I've received a lot of emails and Facebook messages as far away as California, Florida, Long Island, all in dismay over all this. Some of the ones I read, they keep saying it's racist. There's nothing racist about the Indians. I was the one that talked to the Mohawk chief. His name was Paul Delarante. And he was on Peace March on the bridge way back when they had all that problem going on. He was instrumental in getting to the Ganyanka territory. So in my conversation with him, I told him where I worked, and I told him what a mascot was the Indians, and I asked him what his take was on it. He says, we got more important things to worry about. So I met with our AD, and I had him come out to school. He met with some of the social studies classes. His only concern was our headdress. Now, I've had a headdress in my wrestle room since '89. And come to find out it was inappropriate. We only wore feathers here in the East. And that's why we came up with the 2 feathers on the letter P. I could go in a whole long discussion on what the P or what the letters with feathers mean. It's very important. I have put it on my Facebook page. And so when I heard about it, actually the newspaper called me. And I said, you're the first one that I've heard about it from. So I was very disappointed because we had, like everybody's been saying, no input into this whatsoever. But having said all that, I can see this coming down the road for a number of years, being here in the building. We'd have some dissenters. I think we're making fun of the Indians and so on and so forth, which is not the case whatsoever. Everyone that has messaged me have all been proud to be a Peru Indian. And say they're all over the country. Around the world, too. So, when they came up with this thing on TV about changing the Redskins, I said to my wife, there goes our mascot. Because I just know that everybody wanting to tear everything down, get rid of everything. They want to label everything. I mean, you can't talk without being somebody saying, well, you must be racist. And the least likely racist person in the world. Thank you, let me speak.
And everybody else? What do you say? Wrong.
It gets muddled here.
These things are brutal. Sometimes you catch people's lips, you can still catch it. Anything else could be, oh, yes, sir.
I'd just like to, I looked up the senator that's pushing through this legislation. I'd like to read a small paragraph if you all would allow me to do that. His name is Peter. His name is Peter, I should say. His name is Peter. And what he's saying is, well, let me tell you what he said. He said, New York State Senator Peter Hackman introduced legislation today that will require school districts that are using logos, mascots, and team names that are viewed as being racially polarizing to engage in community conversations and discussions in order to reach a shared consensus on the subject of moving forward. It doesn't say it would change some, what you had said earlier that, we're going to compete and we don't want this guy to keep our taxes. He didn't say that. He says it's part of
There's
the
another
discussion.
part of that, I'll have to get the article piece that you
I'll share with you. But see, now, the board went past that already. So it wasn't because, and this came out July 14th. What was the date of the meeting when they made that change?
That didn't make the board, that didn't make the board decision.
But he's saying open it up to community discussion. So they got scared by the July 14th date, I suspect. But that's not what he said. He said, let's talk to the
You
community.
got your phone, check what I said too, will you?
Sure.
Check what I said on July 14th at the meeting
Well,
about community input.
but I mean, like this gentleman said over here, I don't know how many people are here, 50, 40, whatever it is. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but I'd like to know how many people were in favor of the change. I'm guessing not very many, if any. And if I was one of them, I wouldn't want to raise my hand. But, you know what I mean? This shows how controversial it is, and the board just let it happen. They didn't let it happen, they did it. And there's no threat from this guy. He's saying, let's talk to the community, see what they feel.
Yes, sir.
No, I believe it was 4 people.
I really think it needs more public discussion.
I will bring it before the board. So you can also go and speak anyway, and when it says new business or old business, there's an opportunity for public comment. 2 times during the course of the meeting.
Because I did read online one part where they were talking about the Adirondack Park lines and that if they actually looked at the map, Peru does not fall into the Adirondack Park. So any rules they have against the mascot kind of thing doesn't apply to this school.
That didn't have any bearing on the decision.
It was discussed in online.
Or was it?
It's probably going to change. I mean, let's all face it. Sooner or later, it's probably going to change. And the board could have looked at that and said, you know what, let's talk to the community, and then we're going to change. But no, they just went in and said, stop. But that just is not, I think that's what the turmoil is here. Everybody's like, that they didn't have to input.
But the other thing is, deciding on what other kind of moniker they're going to use. You got all these animal rights activists, you got all this other stuff, so if you pick
I know, you got my job. That's the
so
problem.
if
There's
you
so many
pick
things
you
going
pick
on.
a bear, or you pick a lion, or you pick something like that, then you got another whole group of people that say, well, I'm offended by that. You can't use that. So where's it end?
No symbol, no mascot.
Yeah, you can be as offended as you want about anything.
Yeah.
If you want to take offense, you can take offense at what someone's wearing, or what someone says, or what they drive, or whatever. I think our society's gotten a little,
They take
too easily offended.
Oversensitive skin.
Yeah.
And I think that the Board of Education, as far as the community is concerned, priority-wise, we should not even be here right now having this discussion. I have twin boys that are severely struggling with distance learning, and their education, they're losing out on it because of everything that's going on. Education should be the focus. Mascot, no. Priority, and
It's just
our
for
mascot has been
senators
there
to be able to
since
say,
51.
look what I did, look what I did, look what I did.
But you're right, that's a low-level problem considering what we got in front of us. Come September, we got a
You're
bunch of
preaching to
kids.
the choir, guys. My administrative team's back there toe tapping too. We get it. The priority is about education. That is our focus. And this is a sidetracking piece of it, but we have not lost focus on that part. There'll be a guidance document coming out. I think, Amy, did we put it on the site today?
Yes.
So on the website today, you can see the first phase of the comment is the remote learning piece. That doesn't mean that we're doing that, but that's the worst case scenario. We're trying to bring students back. If we have remote learning, we have a much more in-depth, robust plan for instruction next year going in versus what we had this year, when one day we had school and the next day we didn't.
Our parents are going to do remote learning when they're both working.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
That's about remote learning. I said, our parents are going to do remote learning with their children when they're both working. I mean,
To allow the special need children that need extra one-on-one.
All great questions, and we have to come up with solutions, but it's not a perfect scenario. The new normal, outside of stepping away from the mascot for a second, there's a new normal out there. It's not a tradition past. Who in their right mind would ever thought that we actually literally shut down school for 3 months and no kid could step on campus? Kids that were graduating lost all their senior year stuff. Every kid that had a chance to play spring sports gone.
The last chance of the year.
Well, you had to bring that full circle. But you don't think of everything
It's a
now.
big deal for these kids.
This is a new day, the way we come back to school. Everything is going to be different.
and the fact that that's what the board members are talking about, and not our children starting school in September is.
Yeah, they're worried about changing the name.
Now that's offensive.
Yes.
This community is bigger than this. This community is way bigger than this. And that's what, I think that's really what's in people's problem.
I don't disagree at all, sir. Why?
But there's also a lot of people that don't have Facebook or don't follow social media. That's because of all the garbage that's going on. So they get left out. That's why this turnout is as low as it is, I'm sure. So maybe a mailing or something about the notice of
Send out a
the
letter.
board meeting would be a good thing. Send a flyer out, something in the mail.
You said that?
Put it in the press. You know, meeting, town meeting for, to discuss the Indians.
Just for those that don't pay attention to all the other.
It needs to be, because we don't have Facebook, and I just happened by chance to hear this by somebody in the town, because I work here in Peru. And I was just like, really, I was blown away.
Well, we'll make sure that we post it even more, because we do Twitter, we do Facebook, we do our website. We'll make sure.
Put it in the newspaper.
Everybody besides Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a bunch of emails from the school all the time, but I don't have anything to do with any of this.
Newspapers be handy.
Yeah.
Got that electronic board right over by the little community center right there.
No, when they come
On there.
Got one in front of the school.
Yeah, you got one over at the fire station as well.
We'll make sure we can advertise it even more.
Yeah, in school too. Post it.
So,
There's nobody at the school.
Your administrator.
well, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Like I said, I'll bring it to the Board of Education and share your concerns with them, as well as probably some are watching it right now. And like I said, the next board meeting is August 18th. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.